Welcome to Business Talk here on Business Tech, South Africa's #1 business news website. Now, there's more than enough to keep business executives worried at the moment. You've got rising inflation, globally more of an issue than what we have here in South Africa, but still the Reserve Bank is still raising rates as a result. We've got the pace of technological change, thanks to COVID, that is just accelerating. And with so much volatility and uncertainty, I think businesses are faced with a myriad of challenges as we end the year and we head into 2023. So to talk about these and how businesses can respond, it's a great pleasure to welcome now Lindie Ferreira, who's the General Manager for Logicalis South Africa. Lindie, you've been operating in the IT outsource arena for the last 15 years. You've really got a focus on the fast-paced end-user services and information technology infrastructure library service lines with blue chip. So you've got a good vantage point here into what these businesses are grappling with. How are the current global economic challenges affecting businesses this year?
Thanks, Michael. Thanks for the introduction and welcome to everybody listening today. So, you know what, I think there's two aspects I want to discuss about challenges affecting business here in 2022. The first being that customers are really engaging in a very digital way. The traditional way of people meeting face-to-face is no more. And the other aspect I want to talk about is purely around how CIOs are actually prioritizing customer experience. I think that is quite pivotal and has changed over the recent couple of years as well. So lockdown, as we all know, has been a challenging time for most companies and organizations, and it's created a new generation of consumers driven by both the caution of public health. We all so over COVID, but it's still very much real. And then increasingly created an introverted attitude in business. People no longer want to meet face-to-face. They want to transact online and in real time at the same time. So yes, I think post-pandemic, we've come to realize that this is never going to change. It's there to stay. I've read a recent Gartner report, and it actually told us that 80% of business-to-business sales interactions will be online by 2025. So I really hope that our listeners are out there are on this journey already. And if not, we're going to be faced with challenges. So the way consumers engage is definitely digital, and that's what we have to embrace here. We have to have that strategy, we have to have that plan, and we need to be ready for this next wave that's going to hit us rather soon. Businesses need to be agile, and they need to embrace digital first, and that will help them to fight and to capture and to keep consumers' attention, because I think that is what's going to make them successful. Cycling back to the option or the other area I wanted to discuss, which is how CIOs are prioritizing customers' experience. Logicalis Global, they actually do a CIO survey annually with about 1,000 international CIOs. And according to the 2021 results, 4 out of 5 CIOs, which is 75%, is quite significant, believe that redefining the customer experience as well as the employee experience is what's going to make businesses survive in the future. I think we have to remain employer of choice, which we all hope we are. We have to look internally as well. It's not only about the customer experience, but how we keep our workforce enticed. And we know that hybrid working is here to stay. It's working for most companies, but it's changed how we interact. Definitely.
Yeah, you've got to grow your own timber in that regard. Now, I've got a recent example where I bought property before COVID, and I've now bought another property post-COVID. And the interesting thing is that the bond registration attorney sets up a Teams meeting before you have to go in and sign the bond registration documents. It just makes the whole process that much simpler when you physically have to go in and do the signing to have the meeting online first. And so I do think these things we've realized, we've innovated through the pandemic, and many of them do make life simpler, easier, more efficient, more productive, and they are here to stay. That said, I think legacy is a big issue when it comes to the way we think about doing business, and siloed data systems are one of the biggest obstacles between businesses and their digital innovation goals. How do these systems hold back business growth, these legacy systems?
Absolutely. I think MSPs, of which Logicalis is one, we've got powerful platforms that allow organizations to really make data-driven decisions. But, having these siloed and legacy applications really makes it very, very hard for organizations. So these platforms that we can quickly spin up, being in a digital environment at low cost, will bring all the data together and will give them the insights into real-time data and real-time information, which is really missing if you still have these legacy systems, and a lot of companies do have them. So what we do is we bring that layer over all those various applications, and we bring it together and we present the data that really makes sense to businesses to quickly act to whatever information they need to make decisions.
I think that's really exciting for a lot of businesses, because when you think you've got these legacy systems, in order to be able to be agile enough to make use of all of this data that sits in the different silos, I'm going to have to rebuild. I'm going to have to scrap everything and go from the ground up. But you can actually just add a layer on. So how to build on that? Do MSPs such as Logicalis help businesses implement this more open, agile technology solution?
How IT operated in the past, that they really weren't really accountable to businesses. They sat in an ivory tower, and instead of really understanding the business needs, they pushed down to businesses what they thought need to be consumed. And that's really, really changed of late. Everyone now sees IT as a strategic business asset, and it drives revenue opportunities. So no longer the CIOs actually force down to business what they need, but they're consultants to business. They work with business partners and with excos in order to understand the pressures. And that being said, that unfortunately 80% of all these people feel that they have been left behind, and that they've not been strategic and quick enough in responding to these systems and bringing things together. So MSPs are skilled to build open, agile technology solutions that make data accessible to them, providing real-time insights. And I think that is, you've actually made mention of it earlier. People think they need to redesign the entire IT environment in order to bring it all together. That's no longer need. We've got very smart platforms, smart tools that actually do this for us. And I think in that, it is quite important that MSPs have got the tools, they've got the power, they've got the muscle, and they've got the expertise to do this on behalf of customers.
And one thing I do worry about, that I was chatting to the MD of Accenture technology division the other day about this skills challenge in South Africa. And the fact is that we do face a widespread skills shortage, particularly in this arena of ICT. So how do MSPs solve for that particular challenge?
Well, organizations' internal teams currently don't have the manpower or the muscle or the hours to go through mountains of data to ensure smooth operations. It's just not practical. It's just not possible. So by partnering with various MSPs, I think customers no longer want all the eggs in one basket. They shop around, they have different services they procure from different MSPs. But that's giving them the actual strength that they need in order to meet their goals and meet their customer expectations at the same time. Logicalis, as such, has really been benefiting that we've got economies of scale. So we don't ring fence our staff when we support customers. We use a shared services model, which means there's no single point of dependency. And I think if you'll find in customers, there's one of a security specialist or one of a network specialist, and it makes it hard for customers to really then leverage of a shared resource pool, which we have got. We're also partnering with companies like Null, which is the Cisco Training Academy, as well as various colleges out there. And in that way, we actually nurture these skills and we build a talent pool for future, not only for Logicalis, but for the IT market in general, because everyone is suffering at the moment. Definitely.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad to hear that, because I do think the industry needs to grow its own timber, and that's a great way, an example of how you can do that. You speak about the Chief Information Officer, the CIO. I think the role of the CISO is also becoming important, the Chief Information Security Officer, because your digital data is probably one of the most valuable assets that you own now as a business. So how can an MSP help businesses protect data at the same time as helping de-silo the business and bringing all of it together?
Yeah, you've just mentioned something very valuable. The CISO role is as key as the CIO. Data has become the new gold, new commodity, and people are being held ransom, because of data and breaches and all sorts. So, while business data can be hard to come by, organizations need to really understand what risk lies within their business and how they're going to handle those situations, because to achieve robust scaled operations, you need to be able to effectively use this data, especially in spotting emerging cybersecurity threats. It's there, it's real, it's a threat for most organizations. And by saying that, MSPs like Logicalis has got robust tools that analyze network and perimeter data. And through that, we can potentially pick up any attacks. So yes, organizations that are experts in building these threat intelligence platforms is probably what or companies out there need to bolster and to make sure that whatever data they have, not only for customers, but to give them a competitive advantage in the market, is protected by people that know what they're doing.
It always amazes me when we have the security conversation, just how advanced the hackers are, the guys on the other side. And, when it comes to new threats, I mean, it's no longer just an email phishing threat. There's always something new around the corner. What do you see as some of the new security threats that are becoming more of a challenge for businesses to handle?
The challenge about phishing is that, they've become so sophisticated that they would hack and compromise your company account and send it from internal. So no longer, is it a suspect email from someone in Nigeria trying to give you prize money that you've never entered for.
It's coming from an internal account.
From an internal account, which really, really makes it hard. So it is pivotal that we keep our internal users as informed and as alert as possible. But we've had various conversations recently around security. I mean, October was Security Month, so there was a lot of activity around security. And we've come to realize that, everyone is focusing on the IT side of things, but OT is being left behind. So OT, no really disrespect to any engineer out there, but if it works, we leave it. And in that, there's a big risk. And we know that IT and OT is coming closer together. They're sharing networks. And very soon, I believe that those machines will be and those perimeter devices will become the highest risk in security. That's definitely, people are shifting focus towards that side of the businesses.
Lots to think about now. Now, as you probably encounter businesses daily, I think, who think that their existing outdated legacy systems are still sufficient. How do you respond to that? How do you try and convey that the world really has moved on and is moving apace?
Well, businesses don't have choice anymore. They must innovate to enhance the way that they interact with their customers and to protect their customers as well. They'll have to get, either behind that curve, or they're gonna really suffer as a result. They need to, have a culture of innovation and align with companies to keep them up with the competition. It's out there, it's happening, it's real. We find that at Logicalis, we use a consultative approach, and not all clients and customers are ready to move at an accelerated pace. So we have to find that midway where change is embraced, but we are also, transforming and looking at the key risks to their business, because you can't stop. You have to move forward, even if it is slowly. We have to keep moving when it comes to, responding to all these things out there.
Otherwise, you'll be overtaken by what I like to call digital inflation, because if you move still, if you stand still, you're not moving, you can be sure that the technology is moving, your competitors are moving. And so every day that you don't move, you're falling further and further behind. Lindie,
100%.
Great pleasure chatting to you and sharing your insights into the ever-evolving world of technology and security here on Business Talk. Take care.
Thanks, Michael. Appreciate it.